There comes a moment in life when the storm hits without warning. No time to prepare, no time to run. It crashes through your world, tearing apart everything you thought was unshakable. And as the winds howl, as the chaos rages, the world expects you to fall apart. But instead, you rise. You rise from the fire stronger than before, with eyes blazing, heart unbroken, and a spirit that refuses to bow. Because inside you lives a power no storm can steal, no darkness can bury, no fear can silence. This is the moment everything changes. This is the moment you become unstoppable. And if these words ignite something inside you, if they remind you of the warrior you were always meant to be, then hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on the notification bell right now. Because this is just the beginning, and you won't want to miss the fire that's coming next. There comes a moment in life when the noise becomes too loud, when every insult, every manipulation, every betrayal you tolerated turns into a storm, raging inside your chest. You replay the words spoken over you, the moments you stayed silent when you should have walked away, the times you forgave too quickly because your heart was wired for loyalty. And in those moments, you start to realize something. You were never weak for staying kind, but you were exhausted from giving your power away to people who never earned it. This is where the uprising begins, not with shouts, not with fists slamming tables, but with stillness, with the choice to stop feeding the chaos. Because silence is misunderstood. The world teaches you that to be silent is to be defeated, that to be quiet is to surrender. But the truth? Silence is strategy. Silence is power wrapped in self-control. Anyone can scream. Anyone can argue. Anyone can throw words like knives into the air. But to stand in absolute calm when someone expects you to break, that shakes the ground beneath their feet. You see, toxic people thrive on reaction. They are architects of chaos. They want to see you defend yourself, yell, cry, beg, explain, because every word you speak becomes clay in their hands to twist and mold into a weapon against you. They want your voice because it gives them material to manipulate. But when you go silent, when you fold your arms and refuse to play the game, the power shifts instantly. Suddenly, they have nothing. No fire to feed on, no defense to dismantle, no explanation to twist into guilt. Silence becomes the mirror they cannot escape. It forces them to face the noise of their own conscience. It echoes louder than any comeback because it screams the truth they never wanted to hear. You no longer have access to me. And let's be honest, this isn't easy. Walking away without defending yourself, without typing that long message, without shouting the words you've been storing in your chest for months, that takes more strength than war. Because your ego wants to speak. Your pride wants to fight. But power isn't in the reaction, it's in restraint. Silence isn't passive. It isn't doing nothing. It's doing the hardest thing imaginable. Refusing to hand over your peace one more time. Picture it. They call, they text, they provoke, they spread rumors, they lie about you. And yet, you remain still. That stillness will shake them to their core because they built their empire on the belief that you would always explain yourself, always give another chance, always come back when they snap their fingers. But when you choose silence, you become an earthquake beneath their arrogance. They will call you cold. They will call you heartless. They will call you selfish. Let them. That's the sound of control leaving their hands. Because for the first time, they are facing a version of you they can't predict, can't manipulate, can't control. You are not silent because you have nothing to say. You are silent because your peace matters more than their chaos. You are silent because you've realized the truth. Closure will not come from the same people who broke you. Healing will not come from hearing one more excuse. Your peace begins the moment you decide this conversation is over, even if you never said the words out loud. And that silence, that's where you rise. That's where you stop bleeding for people who would have watched you die and asked why you didn't smile while doing it. That's where you take your story back. Because silence doesn't just starve the chaos. It feeds your soul. It gives you the space to hear your own voice again, the one buried under years of defending, explaining, forgiving. When you choose silence, you choose yourself. You choose to stop participating in battles that only leave you bleeding. You choose dignity over drama. You choose freedom over the addiction to being understood. And when you master this, when you finally realize you don't owe anyone access to you, explanation from you, or reaction out of you, you become untouchable. So let them talk. Let them tell the world their version. Let them choke on the lies they built when you stop defending yourself. Because while they're busy performing for attention, you are busy healing in silence. And that silence will roar louder than any defense you could ever give. This is the quiet uprising. The moment you stop begging for respect and start demanding it with your absence. The moment you stop explaining your worth and start embodying it without a word. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Now that you've tasted the power of silence, let's talk about the next step, emotional detox. Because choosing silence isn't just about walking away, it's about cleaning house. It's about looking at your life, your circle, your boundaries, and asking one simple, brutal question. Who actually deserves access to me? For too long, you handed out VIP passes to people who only came to drain the room dry. They took your energy, your kindness, your loyalty, and gave nothing but chaos in return. They turned your heart into a battlefield, and you kept showing up waving a white flag, hoping one day they would lay down their weapons. But here's the truth. Some people don't want peace. They want control. They want to see how much of you they can consume before you finally collapse. Emotional detox means they don't get that chance anymore. It means the phone doesn't get answered every time it rings. It means the door to your life no longer swings open just because someone knocks. It means access is earned, not given out of habit or guilt or history. Because let's be honest, how many nights did you lose sleep replaying conversations, drafting texts, defending yourself to people who already decided not to understand you? How many days did you carry the weight of someone else's disrespect while they walked around free, untouched, unbothered? No more. Your peace is not community property. It is not public real estate for anyone with a sob story or a half-hearted apology. It is sacred ground, and it's time you start guarding it like your future depends on it, because it does. Toxic people will not like this new version of you, the one who doesn't jump to respond, the one who doesn't explain every boundary, the one who doesn't show up to every argument they throw like confetti. They will call you distant. They will call you selfish. They will call you changed, and they're right. You have changed, because now you see the truth. Access to you is a privilege, and not everyone deserves it. Read that again. Not everyone who started the story gets to stay for the ending. Some people were chapters, not the whole book. Some people were lessons, not soulmates. Some people were seasonal teachers, not lifelong anchors. And emotional detox means you stop resurrecting what life already removed. It means the door stays closed this time. No more revolving access. No more maybe they've changed. No more auditions for a role they've already failed. Because, here's the secret. When you finally cut off access to the ones who kept draining you, your entire life shifts. Suddenly you have energy again. Creativity again, joy again, peace again. You start to see how heavy their presence really was when you finally feel the lightness of their absence. That's the gift of emotional detox. It doesn't just remove the poison, it makes room for the antidote. It makes space for people who bring clarity instead of confusion, peace instead of pressure, consistency instead of chaos. But you can't receive that peace while your hands are still busy holding the doors open for people who only know how to take. So shut the door. Not with anger, not with hate, but with finality. Shut the door on the ones who made you question your worth. Shut the door on the ones who fed on your reactions like leeches. Shut the door on the ones who only came to drink the wine of your kindness, but disappeared when it was time to build something real. Because your peace is not up for negotiation. Your boundaries are not a debate. Your worth is not waiting for someone else to validate it. And when they realize they no longer have access, when they call, when they text, when they show up with the same old apologies wrapped in shiny paper, you stay silent. Because the healed version of you doesn't reopen. Doors that God, peace, and self-respect already closed. This is Emotional Detox, the season where your silence, your boundaries, and your absence speak louder than your words ever could. Because you're not interested in revenge. You're interested in peace, and nothing threatens toxic people more than someone who no longer gives them access to destroy it. There comes a point in life when the chaos stops shaking you the way it used to. The noise no longer gets in, the lies no longer sting, the guilt trips no longer work. That, right there, is when you know you've entered a new season, a season where calm becomes your superpower. For so long, they knew how to get to you. One message, one phone call, one passive-aggressive comment, one rumor whispered loud enough for you to hear. That's all it used to take to make you explain yourself, defend yourself, bleed yourself dry just to prove you weren't what they said you were. But now you've learned the art of becoming unreachable. Do you know what shakes toxic people to their core? It's not your anger. It's not your shouting. It's not even your revenge. It's your calm. Your ability to hear the lie, see the manipulation, feel the insult hit your skin, and not let it inside your soul. Because when you master calm, you stop dancing for their drama. They will try everything to provoke you. They will twist your words, rewrite history, paint themselves as the victim and you as the villain. And in the past, you would have run to defend yourself, to clear your name, to make sure everyone knew the truth. Not anymore. Now, you've learned the truth. You don't have to set yourself on fire to prove you're not the villain in someone else's story. You don't have to attend every battle you're invited to. You don't have to explain your side to people who showed up with their minds already made up. Your calm, your refusal to react, speaks louder than your defense ever could, and it drives them crazy. Because toxic people feed on energy. The energy of your anger, your hurt, your confusion. They want you loud. They want you frantic. They want you spinning in circles trying to prove yourself. But when you stay calm, when you stay still, when you refuse to perform for their circus, you rob them of everything they came for. They wanted a scene. You gave them silence. They wanted a reaction. You gave them boundaries. They wanted chaos. You gave them peace. And that peace, that calm, it will expose everything they've tried to hide. Because when you stop reacting, people start seeing clearly. They see who is throwing the punches when you never swing back. They see who is stirring the drama when you refuse to enter the arena. Your calm is your shield. It protects your mind, your heart, your future. It keeps you from wasting one more second of your life explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. This is what power looks like. Not screaming, not defending, not arguing. Power is sitting across from someone who once had the ability to break you, and feeling nothing but peace in your chest because they no longer live there. And here's the best part. Your calm will outlast their chaos. Their lies will fade. Their drama will burn out. Their gossip will lose its audience. But your peace, it will keep growing, keep grounding you, keep guiding you toward a life where you don't just survive the storm. You become the stillness inside it. The day will come when they realize they can't reach you anymore. That nothing they say, no rumor they spread, no name they call you, can drag you back into the fire you finally walked out of. And that realization will shake them more than your rage ever did. Because people expect anger. They know how to fight anger. But peace? Peace is unpredictable. Peace is unshakable. Peace is untouchable. That's the power you're stepping into now. The power of calm. The power of being unreachable to the chaos that once consumed you. Let's talk about boundaries, because here's the truth. The moment you stop explaining yourself, the moment you stop letting people treat your life like an open door with no rules, everything changes. At first, they'll be shocked. Because they were used to the old version of you, the one who overgave, who said yes when you were exhausted, who let disrespect slide because you didn't want to upset anyone. That version of you is gone. The new version of you? Oh, this version comes with boundaries carved in stone. And here's the thing about boundaries. People who benefited from your lack of them will always call them selfish. They will call you cold. They will say you've changed. Good. You were supposed to change. Because the truth is, boundaries are not walls, they're doors. And doors have locks for a reason. Not everyone should have access to your mind, your energy, your heart. Access is earned, and it can be revoked. You're no longer handing out keys to people who only came to take. Let's be clear. A boundary is not anger. It is not punishment. A boundary is a standard. It's you saying, this is the level of respect required to stay in my life. And when someone refuses to meet that standard, the door closes. No drama, no fight, no 10-page explanation, just closed. Because you've learned that real love, real friendship, real loyalty never requires you to abandon yourself. If being in their life means betraying your peace, lowering your standards, excusing their disrespect, that's not love. That's manipulation dressed up as connection, and you're done falling for it. From now on, you're not arguing about how you deserve to be treated. You're not defending why your boundaries exist. You're not begging anyone to stay in a role they keep auditioning for and failing. People who truly care will adjust. The rest will leave. And that's the point. Boundaries don't just keep the wrong people out. They protect the right parts of you, the parts that need peace to grow, the parts that need safety to heal, the parts that need clarity to build the future you deserve. And yes, some people will leave when you set them. People who were only there because of what they could take from you will always disappear when the free ride ends. Let them go. Because here's what happens. When you finally build those boundaries, your life gets lighter. Your circle gets smaller but stronger. Your days get quieter but fuller. Your heart gets softer but wiser. And the people who remain? They're the ones who love you without needing to use you. They're the ones who respect the rules because they respect you. Boundaries are not about keeping people out. They're about teaching people where the sacred parts of you begin. The parts that are no longer up for negotiation. The parts that will never again be handed to people who only know how to break things. From this point on, your life comes with new rules. Respect is the price of admission. Peace is the priority. Love does not come with chaos attached, and access to you is a privilege, not a right. Because you finally understand, you're not hard to love. You're just no longer easy to use, and that one shift changes everything. There is a moment, a turning point, when you realize you no longer owe anyone your reaction. That moment changes everything. For years, you explained. For years, you defended. For years, you gave people chance after chance because you thought forgiveness meant access. But now you understand the truth. Forgiveness and access are not the same thing. You can forgive someone and still never let them near your peace again. Walking away is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is the moment you choose yourself over the cycle of chaos that kept breaking you. Toxic people are masters of bait. They throw out drama like fishing lines waiting for you to bite. They poke at your emotions, push every button, drag your name through the mud. And for what? So they can watch you explode, react, defend yourself, look unhinged while they play. The victim. It's a game. And the only way to win is not to play. The day you stop explaining yourself is the day you break the cycle. The moment you stop reacting, the power shifts. Because toxic people thrive on access. They need to know they can reach you whenever they want, stir you up, shake your peace, steal your sleep. But when you go quiet, when you give them nothing, it terrifies them. Because your silence says what your words never could. You no longer have power here. Walking away doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's as simple as no longer answering the phone, not responding to the text, not returning to the same places where the same chaos keeps happening. It's not about proving a point to them. It's about proving a point to yourself that your peace, your sanity, your future are worth more than the temporary satisfaction of being right in a fight that never ends. People will call you cold for leaving quietly. They'll call you heartless for refusing to engage. They'll say you've changed. Good. You didn't survive everything you went through just to stay the same. The version of you that kept giving chances, kept forgiving without boundaries, kept staying where your soul was slowly dying, that version is gone. Now you honor your healing. You honor your growth. You honor the version of yourself that knows peace is too expensive to keep trading for other people's chaos. Walking away is not about running from problems. It's about refusing to live in cycles that refuse to change. It's about saying, I choose me this time. I choose freedom. I choose peace. And that choice? It will scare people who were counting on your silence, your compliance, your willingness to keep carrying the weight of relationships that were breaking you. Let them be scared. Let them talk. Let them spin their stories. You have nothing to prove anymore. Your absence will say what your words never could. This chapter is closed. The old me is gone. Peace lives here now. And when you choose peace over chaos, your entire life begins to shift. The world is addicted to noise. Opinions flying everywhere, arguments on every screen, everyone shouting to be heard, to be right, to be loudest. But real power, real strength? It speaks in silence. Silence doesn't mean you have nothing to say. It means you've learned not. Everything deserves your voice. There was a time when you explained yourself to people who had already decided to misunderstand you. There was a time when you defended your heart to people who had no intention of protecting it. Not anymore. Because here's what silence does. It exposes. When you stop responding, people show you who they really are. The ones who were there for drama will disappear when the show ends. The ones who only came for access will leave when the door closes. The ones who loved the chaos you brought will have no idea what to do when you bring them calm instead. Silence unsettles people who depended on your reactions to feel powerful. They'll call you cold. They'll say you're acting strange. They'll claim you're avoiding real conversations. But what they really mean is this: I can't control you anymore. And they're right. Silence doesn't just protect your peace, it shifts the balance of power. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop defending what needs no defense, you take back the energy you used to waste on people who were never listening in the first place. Your silence becomes the boundary. It becomes the answer. It becomes the proof that you've outgrown the need to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. Here's the secret. Not everything needs closure. Not every ending needs a conversation. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all, because closure isn't something they give you. It's something you decide for yourself. You decide, this is over. I deserve peace. I deserve better. No explanation, no final words, just a quiet decision that their access to you is done. And the beauty of silence? It doesn't just protect you from their chaos. It protects you from becoming like them. It keeps you from lowering yourself to the level of people who throw dirt and call it a fight. You don't need to throw anything back. You don't need to prove them wrong. You just need to keep rising. Silence keeps you light while they stay heavy. It keeps you free while they stay chained to the drama they created. And one day, long after the noise fades, they'll remember the day you went quiet. They'll remember the day they lost the version of you who kept explaining, kept engaging, kept giving them the reaction they craved. And that silence, it will be the loudest thing they ever hear. There comes a moment when you realize that peace is not found by chance. It is built brick by brick, boundary by boundary, and the hands that build it are yours alone. For too long, you kept the doors of your life wide open. Anyone could walk in with their drama, their demands, their disrespect, and you let them. Why? Because you wanted to be kind. You wanted to be loyal. You wanted to be good, but kindness without boundaries is self-destruction dressed as generosity, and now you know better. Boundaries are not walls to keep love out. They are gates to keep chaos out. They do not make you cold. They make you clear. You see people test you. They push. They take. They see how much of yourself you're willing to give up before you break. And the old you? You gave everything. Your time, your energy, your heart, your peace. But the healed you, the wiser you, you've learned to say no. No to conversations that drain you. No to relationships that confuse you. No to people who only show up when they need something. Because love without respect is not love. It's manipulation. And loyalty without boundaries is not loyalty. It's self-betrayal. The people who truly value you will never ask you to sacrifice your peace to prove your care. They will respect the lines you draw because they want your well-being, not just your presence. But those who thrived on your lack of boundaries, oh, they will call you selfish. They will say you've changed, and they're right. You have changed. You've grown. You've realized that protecting your peace is not cruelty. It is survival. Because every time you say no to what drains you, you say yes to what heals you. And here's the secret. Boundaries don't just keep the wrong people out. They create space for the right people to come in. People who love without taking. People who respect without demanding. People who bring calm, not chaos. When you build boundaries of steel, you stop living at the mercy of other people's moods, needs, and games. Your life becomes yours again. And that peace, that steady, unshaken, quiet kind of peace, it's worth everything you had to walk away from to find it. There is a version of you the storm never saw coming, the one forged in fire, the one built through silence, boundaries, and battles no one else even knew you were fighting, the one that rises from ashes others thought would bury you. You see, pain doesn't leave you the same. It either leaves you bitter or it leaves you stronger. And you chose strength. But not the loud, look-at-me kind of strength. Not the one that pretends nothing hurts. No, this strength is different. It is quieter, deeper. It walks through storms with steady feet. It carries scars like medals of honor, proof of every battle survived. Because here's the truth. Broken things can become stronger in the places where they were shattered. The cracks in your soul are where the light enters, where wisdom seeps in, where empathy is born. That's why you no longer hide your scars. You wear them. You own them. Because they tell a story of survival that silence alone could never speak. The people who tried to break you expected you to stay down. But here you are. Not the same. Not weaker. Not bitter. Stronger. Wiser. Untouchable. And you know what unsettles them the most? It's not your anger. It's not your pain. It's your calm. The calm of someone who has been through hell and came back carrying lessons instead of losses. The calm of someone who no longer seeks revenge because peace tastes better. The calm of someone who knows exactly who they are and refuses to shrink for anyone. This new version of you doesn't beg to be understood, doesn't chase after people who walked away, doesn't waste words on those committed to misunderstanding you. Because you finally understand this. The ones meant for you will find you. The ones who value you will stay. The ones who can't handle your boundaries were never your people to begin with. And the ones who tried to break you, they just became the reason you learned to rise higher than ever before. You are no longer who you were before the storm. You are fireproof now. You are unshaken now. You are free now. And this version of you, it can't be broken. There comes a moment in life when you finally realize that holding on is heavier than letting go. For so long, you gripped the memories, the relationships, the what-ifs, as if keeping them alive would somehow rewrite the ending. You replayed the conversations, analyzed every word, wondered what you could have said differently, what you could have done better. But here's the truth. Closure is a myth. When it depends on someone else, the apology you wanted may never come. The explanation you crave might never be spoken, and the justice you think you need, it may never arrive, and that's okay. Because real closure doesn't come from them. It comes from you. It comes the day you decide to stop bleeding for people who never stopped cutting. It comes the moment you realize that some chapters must end without a neat conclusion. Sometimes people leave without warning. Sometimes love turns cold without reason. Sometimes loyalty dies in the hands of those who swore they'd never hurt you. And you know what? You don't have to chase after answers that won't heal you. You don't have to reopen doors that lead back to pain. You don't have to sit across from the one who broke you just to hear them explain why. Because the why doesn't change the ending. It doesn't rewrite the betrayal. It doesn't undo the nights you cried yourself to sleep. The closure is not a conversation. Closure is a decision. The decision to say, I deserve peace, even if they never gave me the truth. The decision to walk away quietly, without announcement, without drama, without explaining your worth to people who were committed to forgetting it. Because here's the secret. They never tell you. Silence is the loudest goodbye you will ever give. It unsettles the ones who expected your rage. It confuses those who thought they owned your reactions. It terrifies the people who thrived on your chaos. Because silence says what words never could. I'm done. Not angry, not bitter, not broken, just done. And the day you stop responding, stop explaining, stop waiting for the closure they'll never give, is the day you finally set yourself free. You see, letting go isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's realizing that not every story deserves a sequel. Not every person deserves a second chance. And not every goodbye needs to be softened with explanations that only serve to comfort the one who hurt you. Let them wonder why you never reached out again. Let them sit with the silence they created. Let them live with the version of you they lost. Because you've got a life to build, a peace to protect, a future to claim, and none of it requires their permission. When the storm ends, the world expects you to come out weaker, but you rise, not the same, not smaller, not softer in the way they hoped. You rise bolder, stronger, wiser, because everything that tried to break you became the reason you built yourself unshakable. You learned that peace is priceless, that boundaries are sacred, that your worth isn't measured by who stays or who leaves, by who claps or who criticizes, by who understands or who misunderstands. You learned that the people who left when it got hard were never your foundation. That real love doesn't abandon you in the fire. It walks through it with you. And you learned this. You are not too much. You were just giving too much to people who deserved nothing at all. So now you give differently. You give love where it is respected. You give energy where it is reciprocated. You give access only where peace is protected. Because the healed you knows this simple truth. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. Some people were only meant to be lessons, not lifelines. Some chapters were meant to end no matter how much you wanted them to last, and now you honor that ending. Because endings make space for beginnings. The beginning of a life where you no longer apologize for being yourself. The beginning of a version of you who no longer tolerates disrespect just to keep the peace. The beginning of a journey where you finally understand that solitude is not loneliness. It is power. Power to rebuild. Power to dream bigger. Power to walk into rooms with your head held high because you know exactly who you are and what you deserve. The world may not understand your silence. They may not get your boundaries. They may call you cold, distant, selfish. But that's only because they can no longer control you. And that is the most powerful thing you will ever feel. Freedom. Freedom from the need to explain. Freedom from the chaos you once called love. Freedom from the weight of other people's expectations. You rise now with a new standard. You rise now with peace they can't disturb. You rise now with power they can't take. And above all, you rise with purpose. A purpose that no betrayal, no storm, no loss can ever erase. Because you are no longer surviving. You are living, and this is just the beginning.